Hello, welcome to another Tuesday night live stream. Although it's a little bit late tonight. um, so that had nothing to do with the firmware. That had to do with what I'm guessing are the multitude of power outages we've had recently, and my VM host was just kind of sideways. It was running, but it wasn't. Things were not working correctly. So I'm not sure what that issue was, but it's working now. So hopefully, you guys are all here. I see some chat, so let's go see who's here. And I did finally have dinner. I did have a piece of pizza, so I did eat something. Tony was actually first tonight, which was surprising. And then Jeremy was here in the number 2 spot. Grish was lonely third. No, I'm just kidding. But surprising nonetheless that Grish was third. Tony said he'll be late. He actually messaged me about that. So then we have David here. Oh, at least he was here earlier. Mike is here. This made me laugh because I actually pulled my phone out and I'm like, can I go live from my phone? Well, maybe not. It'd be hard to change over. So I said, not doing that, but I almost did. Toro is here, and well, yeah, it's true. Not saying something is saying something. Music cutting out. I believe the music cuts out. The track itself's not the best track. I should probably go back and see if I can download a better version. But using FFmpeg and a variable bit rate when you're on a static image like that, I think it just drops the bit rate way too low. Or as Toro said, it could have been the loop restarting. Joe is here. Says cutting out for me periodically seems to buffer. Well, I mean, I guess it could be one of those things. Kurt's here. Kurt should be rebuilding or finishing his trailer if he hasn't already done it. Or was that remote today? My days are off. But Clear Life Media just built their second trailer, I believe, and so looking forward to seeing that thing finished. David is here. Nils is here. Welcome in. So yes, so you guys are talking amongst yourselves. Okay. So tonight's live stream, I'm not sure how long tonight's going to go. Probably not very long. But today's been a day. Just to kind of start off the thing. One of my employees told me on Friday that they were leaving after 10 years of working at the station. They're taking a new job down the street. And, I was like, well, congratulations, of course. He's been a good employee. So today I go to tell the part-time person there's a full-time job opening. And the part-timer tells me they're also leaving for a different reason. So I went from having, in the course of 3 days, I went from having no openings to having 2 openings that I have to fill, fairly quickly. So it's been a little bit stressful today. And then the HVAC repair came back awfully expensive, so that's going to be fun to deal with. And then we had a new weather system that went online today, and so there's been lots of things going on today. So I got home late, and then we had to take our dog to the chiropractor. Yes, our dog goes to see a chiropractor, and got home, and then started to set the stream up, and of course had issues. And so I mean, like I said, I ate dinner at 9 o'clock, and haven't really stopped moving today. It's been kind of one of those days. So, but anyway, let me see who else is here or what you're commenting. Built-in. Built it in 3, then try to do a stream with it. You try to do a stream with it, or you did a stream with it? I'm curious to know. um, yeah, I mean the chiropractor. We actually we all see her or see him. I mean, and he adjusts dogs and animals. He's actually a certified animal chiropractor, I guess. It's interesting to watch. A lot of spinal work and a lot of finger, I don't know if this is the spine. He does a lot of this stuff over the spine, kind of thing. And she definitely reacts. She definitely has reactions. But I mean, before we started taking her there, she just struggled. I mean, it was struggling to walk, yeah. Struggling to jump. I mean, it was painful to watch. And, yeah, we were like, okay, she's 13. We got to probably stop, or, 13. Yeah. We got to stop, trying to get her to walk, trying to stop, from jumping. Of course, she's a small dog, so she's used to doing that her whole life. And so we were kind of to the point where okay, what's going to happen? So we took her to the chiropractor, and almost instantly we saw results that she could run again, she could jump, she just looked like she was happier. So I was not sure what to expect, and the results were great. So it may seem odd, but as humans we get adjusted, and animals are no different, that they can get out of whack and things can get tight for them and need adjusted. So yes, Puka. Yes, I will probably be going to bed early tonight. Yeah. Yeah, I had never heard of it either. Until I started getting adjusted myself, and then it was oh, you do that too? Okay. And yeah, I mean, especially for an older dog or any dog that's having issues, I would definitely say it's worth it. I mean, it's $45 ish, $50 a time, so it's not cheap, but it definitely has helped. Chiropractic care has helped us and the dog, so I mean, definitely worth it. We're all maladjusted. Yeah, I mean, I try to stand more at work these days. I mean, I didn't ever really want a standing desk. I thought they were honestly, they were kind of stupid. Because I'm not one to sit at my desk. My job usually involves going places and doing things. But when I got into management and started doing more stuff, I realized pretty quickly that I don't move around as much as I used to. And so I'm very happy to have a standing desk now, because I try to adjust it several times in the afternoon so that I'm not just sitting all day. And it's definitely helped. Now I need to actually, now I need to get one of those floor mats that's cushioned. So when I stand up, I can put the cushion mat down there and not be standing on, just regular shoes. But anyway, I don't think you guys came here to hear about chiropractic care or my shoes. So tonight's stream is, as the thing says, we're going live with Grandstream's beta firmware. And I didn't know what could go wrong. I didn't think it was going to be the virtual machine host, that's for sure. But a walking pad under their standing desk. I've seen people have, yes, one of our people has a little micro treadmill underneath their standing desk. I'm not sure I'm going to do that, but I'd like just a pad at least. So beta firmware. I got a text message from Tony a couple days ago. I think it was Thursday or Friday of last week, and saying that the GCC had new firmware available and that it included some very key features that several of us have pointed out need to be fixed or need to be added. So the firmware has it. So I decided to give it a shot. Now, I originally had talked about doing it live on the stream, and then I thought better of that because like I said, got home late, and B, I don't have a very good backup for a 1080p stream. If it was 720p, I could use my phone as the data source, backup data source, and be fine. But at 1080p, it's too much data for cellular. So I've kind of, in a way, screwed myself in terms of like, now I have to have a good internet connection because I'm 1080p. If I was 720p, I could have done it. But my bandwidth's not good enough on cellular to maintain a connection, at least not in the basement. And I don't have an outdoor antenna yet, so like can't do that. Also, if you're upgrading your firewall and that's what's doing your dual WAN, then you really still don't have dual WAN. You just have a single point of failure. So, not a good scenario. So I actually upgraded the firewall before the stream. So you're currently watching the stream through beta firmware. And that beta firmware version is 1.0.7.5, and it works. It is working right now. Definitely some changes. I've seen things here and there, and I'm going to walk you through some of those changes right now. So let's go to the computer screen, and let's log in. So here you can see the overview, and the biggest change for me is the firewall rules. If you go to firewall rules and traffic rules, you can now click on a rule and hit clone. And now it cloned that rule. That is super handy when you're making firewall rules. But that's not the best feature. So I'm going to delete that. To me, it is the ability to go into port forwarding, because yes, I do port forwarding, add a rule, and we're just going to call this test for now. And source address type, you can now choose predefined addresses, or more importantly, you can now define groups. So under this group, I can create an address group. This is what pfSense had for years that Grandstream was just missing. So I'm going to call this test group, and I'm going to go add some IP addresses. So I'm going to go, let's just say Google. I'm going to go add quad 9. Oops. And I'm going to go add 1.1.1. So now I have a group with several addresses predefined in that group. So now I can say source type group, source address, choose that group. I can create multiple groups, which is very, very helpful. So this right here is a huge, huge upgrade for Grandstream. This is what was missing to me, the biggest thing. that Grandstream needed to do to be in line with a pfSense or advanced firewall rules. Is there other things? Sure. But to me, this is huge. They needed to do this. They appear to have done this. I haven't tested this yet, but I mean, the fact that I can come in here and say, here's the group, seems to work, I'm just going to finish these rules. I don't know what, I'm not sure. I'm not actually building this, but I just want to let you know that the groups do work, and you can make them in the port forward section. And there they are. And if you come back here to edit, it's still there. And if you wanted to clone this rule, cloning now works too. What a huge, huge upgrade for the GCC line of devices. Thank you, Grandstream, for adding this feature. So, how do you get to that group? So it's underneath profiles down here. You can actually have IP address groups. And here you can see that these addresses belong to test. They could belong to, in theory, I guess, more than one. So this kind of shows you where that's being used. References, very handy. I mean, this is really well done. I was very critical of Grandstream before when I first got it running, but this is huge. This is very, very cool. You can actually make Mac groups, it looks like, I guess you probably did that before. You can do a fully qualified domain name group now, which I find interesting. I'm not sure if that's new, but it sure seems like it's new. So like a list of sites or something like that, you could, that's really cool. Like I said, this is the part that they were missing. They needed this to be even remotely close to pfSense, and they added it. So very happy with this. And it's interesting because like in port forwarding, at least it was earlier, it said on earlier versions use this. Now it wants you to do here. And that's, very, very helpful. And because I like to restrict, obviously you shouldn't open a ton of ports. But in my situation, I need ports to be open because I can't do a VPN. So I do port forwarding, but I need to limit the sources so that I don't have the whole world accessing my stuff, only the IP addresses that I want. So having a source address group right here now means I can do all my port forwards and know that I'm not going to have people knocking on my door who shouldn't be. Because I port forward for Nextcloud, I port forward for some streaming stuff, I port forward for Plex, although that has to be open to the whole world, but most of the things, don't need open to the whole world. So let me go back to the chat and see. I'm curious what you guys thought of that. You probably comment down below, but let me get caught up real quick. David says, I may be getting closer to one of those senior walkers. Security shoes. Nope, never had to have security shoes. Probably should have a pair of steel-toed boots, but I don't. Yes, address groups are awesome. Gonna skip that. Oh, can we add host names for address groups like we can in pfSense? Can you add host names for address groups? So I'm guessing source address. So if we just go name, let's do a host name, add manually. Doesn't look like it. No. Because you could do a whole subnet and you can do a range, but it doesn't look like you can do host name. Oh, that's true. Sorry, I just saw you posted. So you could do a queue. Yeah, you could do a group. So yeah, so you could do there, and then I'm guessing under the port forward. Oops, wrong place. I'm still not used to this menu system. It's not a bad menu system, but takes some getting used to for sure. So but you can't choose host name here. You have to. So here's where you can choose your predefined. So like you can choose Google or you can choose your group. But the host name group doesn't come up in here. So where does the fully qualified domain names come in at? Because they obviously allow you to do this. And yes, as Krish points out, he doesn't own that domain. Addresses. Wait, didn't I make a group? I did, didn't I? This might be a bug. Save and well, look at that. Holy crap, it actually resolved it. Save. Did I not save it before? I might have not done that. That's pretty cool. I like the fact that it could actually resolve it for you. Obviously, this domain right here doesn't actually do anything because it doesn't resolve. Well, that is really cool. I like that. I mean, so if I go back, but I can't use, unfortunately, you can't use that here. Interesting. All right, so let's go back to chat. I filed a ticket about my all VLANs issue. They wanted to do a AnyDesk remote session, and I simply could not find time in my schedule to do it. So they closed the ticket automatically. So have I talked to them, through their ticket system? Yes. But have I suggested any of this stuff to them directly? No. I just did videos on it. I do need to go back and file a ticket on the multicast issue. I did make a separate video about that that I wanted to include in the ticket because it was a good example of the issue, and Tony was able to confirm the issue, so I know it's a real issue. And but yeah, so no, I'm not talking to Grandstream. Some people do. I don't have those communications, but I mean, either way, they added the feature. It works awesome. Oh, speaking of Tony, I see he made it. You can reopen a closed ticket. Okay. I mean, like my other issue was, so since I fixed the issue with the work network that works, it is awfully hard to go back to a broken network. I would have to do a little bit of work to make that usable again, or that issue happen again. So I mean, I could in theory reopen that ticket, but at this point, I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing there's some other issues. I saw some new firmware was released today, so maybe they've already figured out that issue. I don't know. But yes, so Tony, since you just joined, let me go back and show you this. So like I was saying, under port forwarding, you can actually now click on a rule and clone it. And then under your rule, you can select address group, make a new address group. And now these were made previously, so now I can just choose one or two and hit save. And now there's a Tony group and it's got addresses in it. Under profiles, address group, you can see that this one is part of the test group and the Tony group. This one's part of both, but this one's only part of the test group. And then they also added the fully qualified domain names. So we have this test group here. If I want to add another one, I can add Facebook. I can't spell tonight. So I can add Facebook, and it even resolves it. So pretty cool. This is very cool. I like how it resolves it, shows you what it is. I don't know where this is actually being used. I wonder if it's available in traffic rules. Okay, so it does work in the traffic rules. Let me go add a new rule. So now I can go select a qualified group, choose that, and now that group can be part of this traffic rule. Interesting. I would think it would have been available for more than just source, but I guess maybe I'm not thinking about traffic rules correctly. I guess it's inbound, so it's just saying you can make that group for the inbound rules, but the destinations apparently you have to still do as this. But you did notice you can now do subnets too, so you can define subnets in rules. I don't think that was there before. So yeah, we're definitely, as I was saying earlier, Tony, I don't know if you were here or not, but like they needed to add this feature because it was glaring difference between the high-end firewalls and Grandstream. Like it was that's definitely a thing they needed to add, because just to make a bunch of rules. I mean, and then the thing about it is like in here, I can't read what those rules are. Even if I shrink it down, I can't read if that's a very descriptive name. Like, I'd have to hover over each one. Well, that's just doesn't seem right. Like, it shouldn't, so to have a million rules in here and with names that might be similar creates a huge issue. So the ability to have rules now apply to groups, as opposed to having individual things for each one is awesome. Because I can see now, for example, I know we were talking about this one day, so like you can block, if you were trying to block, block IoT, you can now, for example, IoT source address type, we can now do the whole subnet, and then the destination group can be an address group called my networks. And you can add so this would be, LAN. So now you can go in here and you can make, your actual groups the way you would like to have. So now in forwarding, I can now block IoT from accessing my networks. And that's one rule, right? Yep. So now it's one rule that says I'm going to block IoT network from going to anything. And because, I now have these rules, or these now really easy profiles, if I add a network later on, I could just simply add it. I mean, this is incredibly helpful. Incredibly helpful. And then I can just simply go here, my networks, click on that one. And now I don't have to change the rule. I don't have to add a rule. It just works. I mean, such a needed upgrade. It's incredible. Like I said, I mean, coming from pfSense to Grandstream, it was just shocking at how complicated the rules were and how just they didn't make sense to me. They didn't want to work. And I vented to Tony, and I was like, this is ridiculous. How come I can follow? I mean, I'm following rule or your YouTube videos and it's not working. This should be super easy because pfSense made it easy. And that's a, quote, complicated firewall for most people. So how is this not easy? This Grandstream made it harder. So I want to applaud Grandstream for doing this. It's beta firmware. So far, it works for me. Your mileage may vary, but I would say give it a shot and see what you come up with. And then, obviously, if you have a problem, let them know. As Tony has pointed out, they are very, very helpful. They were helpful to me and responsive to me, I should say, but we never finished it, so I can't really say what they're like on the phone. But Tony speaks highly of them, and so does Willie. So I'm going to go with that they're probably very helpful. So let's go back. I know I missed some things. Can you do QoS on a host name group? QoS. Does not look like you can. If I'm missing something, let me know, but I don't see. Does not look like they look. That does not look like it. But again, I'm not a big QoS person, so I don't know. I don't know. Tony says, nice that they're adding cloning in groups. Yeah, we've talked about that before. Hello, Haley. Welcome in. Haley and I have been discussing some YouTube things that are really interesting. She is actually breaking up her channels into more niche channels because just not seeing the thing. Like, kind of thought about it some more and whatnot. And she posted a short and already has like almost 1,600 views on it and 11 subscribers. And it's her first short on her new channel. So it's pretty interesting to watch how she's doing things differently and it's growing and working for her. We also just talked about today something interesting that you apparently should upload your video or short or whatever and then let it sit. This is something Jeremy's commented on before, but I didn't really understand what he meant. But now I do. So I might take the clip that I recorded earlier and upload it tonight, but not actually release it till tomorrow, and just see how it does compared to my previous Grandstream clip where I simply uploaded it and released it. I'm going to let this one sit for 24 hours and then release it to see what it does. Grish says, I love address groups aliases. David says, you may send me to the Dunce chair. Sorry. Yeah. Since you're redoing it. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't think anybody here would either. You can choose what works for you. I was pretty close to going to a all Unify network, but the gear that I wanted wasn't available. And I quickly realized the prices were a little too steep for me. But no, I'm not going to knock anybody for going with that stuff. I have a couple things around here that are Unify. This little switch, the access point that I don't know where I did with. So no, I'm not going to do that. But, yes, no. I'm not going to say it's life-changing. But when it comes to network managing your firewall and your network, it's definitely groundbreaking. It's definitely changes the way you think about things. So, yeah, I mean, it was a much needed thing. It definitely was needed. Still a little clunky, but it's progress. Would rather create a group, then be able to add multiple subnets to the group in one step. Still too many. Well, didn't we just do create a group, then add multiple subnets to the group in one step? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying, I guess. So you're saying group, and then you could add so you're saying you have to go in here each time, which, yeah, I mean, but again, if you you only have to do that once. So like this, you only have to do this part once. I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I understand what you're saying, um, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going to knock them for that. I mean, this is a huge leap forward. So I'm gonna take that and call it a win. There are a couple other things in here that I noticed. Like, all of a sudden, this is not happy. I don't know. I don't know if this is new or not. I honestly can't remember. But this seems new. I don't recall this being here before. What else did I notice that was new? Under clients, this seemed new. This status detection. I don't recall this being here before. Could be wrong. I don't recall this being here before. I don't remember what else was new, but I feel like there was something to do with setup wizards was new, but I don't remember. So Tora asked, do you need to mess with QoS settings for home setting? No. If you're doing SIP at home, yes. Well, yeah, they have. I mean, this is also PBX, so there is some voice stuff in here, and I think you can just define your voice VLAN, and then I think it does it automatically, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that one. Where was that underneath? Like I said, I'm not exactly used to this menu yet. I think they did introduce a new tool. I think I think NS lookup is new, if I'm not mistaken. I don't recall this being here before. So just simply tells you, but I don't think that was here before. Again, I could be wrong. So Grish says, I stream at a church with 100 people on the network and only 15 megabit upload. Yeah, no, Grish is definitely in a situation where he needs QoS based on his upload speed. David says his last 10 gig switch is on its way. I look forward to seeing your new series. Yes, Grish says, save my bacon. 0 dropped frames. David just subscribed to Haley's channel. Well, that's good. Thank you very much, David. Yeah, it's just what you're used to on the Edge router. It's a huge step in the right direction. Oh, that's right. Okay, so they added. I knew they added a wizard. I just couldn't remember what it was for. They added a wizard for WireGuard. VPN setup wizard. Okay, so yeah, so this is you can now do a WireGuard wizard. I'm not gonna go down that too far because I do have WireGuard set up and I don't know what it'll show you. So, but yes, they do have a WireGuard wizard now. And yes, I thought that was the case because oops. I did end up defining a voice VLAN and well, I did define it, but I don't. I thought it was defined in here where you said it was a voice VLAN, but now I'm not seeing that. I thought it was in here, but nope. I'm not. I'm not seeing where that's at, but I know it's somewhere here where you can define the voice VLAN. Is it under? I don't remember where it was. It's under here somewhere. Yeah, no, you're. I bet you. I bet you. You're right. I bet you they. I bet you they added NS lookup because they have to resolve the names for the groups now. That's probably why they added it that way. Um, so yeah. So yeah, no, definitely she's working on it. She's like I said, just launched three new channels. Uh, three new channels, right? I think it's three new channels. Um, I'd be curious to know if any of you actually get recommended her channel. That'd be interesting little test to see if it recommends her to you. Um, so yeah. So anyway, that's kind of been that's kind of what I wanted to showcase tonight. Didn't really want to go for too long, but I wanted to showcase the new firmware and to let you know that it's a huge step in the right direction. Um, I'd recommend trying it if you have Grandstream products. Oh, that's right. Haley says two are new, one she's waiting on. So we were discussing three channels. There will be three channels. Yeah, there's probably a Venn diagram. Those that are cool, those that no, I'm just kidding. um, Haley is a huge country music fan and New Kids on the Block fan. Don't ask me how I know. But anyway, I'm getting hungry again because I only had like one piece of pizza. So, um, if you have any more questions, please drop them in real quick and then I'll answer them. If not, we'll probably call it a night. Again, sorry for the delayed start. My virtualization platform just didn't want to work correctly. Um, so, yeah, we're going to Vegas to actually see the New Kids on the Block because I'm a nice guy. Yeah, the update. The update went. It actually was really fast. I was doing a ping while I did the upgrade, and I think the thing was only down for maybe a minute. Like it did a really. Its upgrade was pretty fast. I mean, it was very impressive. Like I went upstairs and it came back down and it was already done. So I was very impressed with the firmware update. I did do the all-in-one package, which actually I don't know about you know liking is a strong word. um, so maintenance. No, this is so I did do the system plus firm PBX all in one, which this does seem like a different screen now too. I don't know if this was there before. Never mind. I'm thinking of when I first got the machine, when I first got the hardware. I don't think this was a thing, but the previous thing was because I did this upgrade. So I did the combo upgrade, and it was fast. It was crazy fast. I was very happy. um, Thank you. Yeah, I definitely am a nice guy. Oh, maybe Tony's gonna try it tomorrow. I would love to know how that goes for you. I think you'll probably be very happy. I would caution you though. You're gonna probably have to redo all your rules. So set some time aside because, like, I was looking at my rules. I only had 4 rules, but I just deleted them all because I just was thought it'd be easier to make new rules, considering that now I have groups, and I also didn't want to show them on the stream on accident. So, but yeah, I mean, it's going to take some time, but I think in the end, it'll be totally worth it to be using groups and aliases, basically, and well, groups, I guess, um, and just be able to do that. And now I think I can spend some time and actually block networks correctly and do things the way I want to do them, because before it was just too much work to go through and create block rules. When you have 7 or 8 VLANs, the block rules are just not going to work the way you want them to work. So, um, but yeah, please let me know if you do it tomorrow. Let me know. I would love to know. If you don't hear from me by noon tomorrow, no, I'm just kidding. Oh, that's cool, David. I think did you mention that in your previous stream about possibly doing a stream with your granddaughter? I'm pretty sure you did. Oh, anyway. Alrighty. Well, if nobody has any more questions, I think I'm gonna call it quits for tonight. Am I back next week? I think I am. So yes, so I'll be back next Tuesday most likely, but then I will be off the following Tuesday, the 13th. So yeah, I'll be back next week, but then I'll be skipping a week. So just know that. I'm sure if you all beg Jeremy or whatever it is, he might do an extra stream for you all. Which, speaking of Jeremy, I don't know what happened to him. He was here at one point, and then so. But anyway, so you guys, thank you for being here. You guys have a good night, and I'll see you next week.